As he walks on to the mountain tops, he doth declareth that those who have the stealtheth geneth in their bodith may always be a difficult pathmanship to follow. You guys familiar with that proverb? I mean, that is classic. Book of Eli, I think. I'm not sure exactly where to find it. But if you're not familiar with that famous scripture, let me break it down for you. What it's saying is that stealth characters are inherently difficult to balance. And there, we find ourselves in the state of the realm. Today, we'll be focusing on Skye, talking about the dilemma of stealth champions in general in terms of balancing and where Skye has personally been, from the nerfs to the recent buffs in OB55, and talking about where she sits now and where she will be going. So what do you say? Let's get this thing moving, darling. Before we find ourselves in OB55, the current state of Skye, let's flash back in time and think about what this champion has been to the community. Overall, Skye has been a stealth champion that has consistently been memed as a result of her inefficiency in the higher levels of play. The pros neglect to use her, we make fun of her on patch notes, and she continually excels in lower levels of play because stealth is inherently difficult for people to deal with when they're learning a game. A woman of unrequited love, Skye just wants to be respected, yet respect is the one thing that has eluded her this entire time. But is that about to change? If I was a betting man, I'd say no. But it wouldn't be the first time I'd be wrong about something either. That's why questioning everything right now in the state of the realm is the most important ideological message I want to send to you all. Let go all of your preconceptions about Skye and what you think has to happen or what these buffs will mean, and just think about it for a second. Go into detail. Even go as far as assuming there's a part of the equation that you haven't yet considered. Well, if there is something that we haven't considered, let's at least consider the things we all know about Skye. One of the major dissatisfactions with people who love Skye, she's a very loved champion, is the fact that she does not have vertical mobility. I have talked about this in many a video of mine, especially in the recent past, because of the fact that it's been such a topic of late that's interested multitudes of people. Androxus, Eevee, Buck continue to dominate at the higher levels of esports, yet Skye and Zen have yet to be considered playable. And despite the differences in their kits, a lot of people base this on one simple fact: it's that Androxus, Eevee, and Buck all have vertical mobility, whereas Skye and Zen do not. I mean, if you were about to be born and a magical angel came down and talked to you before you exited the area, and she said, you know what, would you like to walk, or would you like to walk and be able to fly? I'm pretty sure you'd say, I want to be able to fly as well, and just like you, every pro player feels the same way. Which is why from every Twitter post, every YouTube comment, or every Reddit thread, fans of Skye have been asking for her to be raised into the realm of vertical mobility. Give her a wall climb, give her a teleport, I don't care, just allow her to compete with the other top flankers. And what was interesting is this request seemed to be gaining traction. Complain, complain, and you shall receive the bounties of the world. You know what I'm talking about? The conversation took a turn of legitimacy when the lead designer of Paladins at the time, Rory Newbra, or Drybear as we all know and love him, mentioned in a tweet that they were experimenting with different forms of mobility for Skye. Now, at no point did he say vertical mobility, but he said a different kind of mobility. Now, for Skye fans, this seemed to quell a lot of the issues because they realized that, hey, the design team knows what the problem is and they're working on it. As a Skye main, I'll be triple jumping, dashing, and wall climbing in no time. But what was given to Skye players was not what they had been asking for. Skye in OB48 was given the ability to throw her time bomb. Now that's a damn good quality of life change, but it's like starving in the desert asking for food and somebody brings you a fresh pair of Nikes. You're not gonna be mad like, yo, these are some clean shoes, but I need some food, dog. Now, in my opinion, that actually was a fantastic change for Skye players, but it just wasn't what they were asking for. It's hard to get mad at a buff, and it's even harder to get mad at designers focusing on the champion and trying to improve them when that's what you've been asking for. But it wasn't the exact fix. The keystone, the vertical mobility that many Skye players think is the difference between her reaching a top-tier level of play and respect in the Paladins community. Now, I feel like we've covered enough history to be able to set the tone for where we are now. And if you're a veteran player, you already know all these things. But if you're a casual player, maybe this is coming as a surprise to you, that people are even asking for Skye buffs. In fact, you may be asking for Skye nerfs right now. Now, to me, this is why it's so fascinating to look at the story of Skye, where she is and where she can go. She's currently caught in between two existences. She lives a parallel plane, where at one level of play, she's extremely effective and extremely frustrating to play against. And at the exact opposite level of play, she's extremely Eevee, extremely Eevee. She wishes she was extremely Eevee, or at least had the vertical mobility Eevee had, but she's extremely easy to deal with at those higher levels of play and not really respected in team compositions at all. And the true crux of the issue is that both communities are correct. Imagine if you held a yellow and orange beach ball in your hand. If you stood so that one person on your right could only see the orange side and then the person on your left could only see the yellow side, and you ask them what color is the beach ball, they both would say different things and they would both be right in their own way. The more you look at that, it seems pretty difficult to find a perfect solution for both sides here. In my eyes, there may be a solution to this, but it's going to take some work, and I'll mention that at the end of the video. And again, if you guys are enjoying this video, please leave a like, comment down below, and let me know what you're thinking about the Skye conundrum here. With OB48 being the last official buff for Skye, it is time to take a look now at OB55. Where do we currently stand? 7 patches later, and the next buffs are in line for the Stealth Assassin, but are they even buffs? Now, this is a question I've gotten from community members, and yes, they are buffs in my eyes, but more so, they're changes. Overall, these weapon changes are supposed to allow Skye's wrist crossbow to be more reliable. First, the reduction of maximum inaccuracy from 90 to 94% could leave people scratching their heads. Essentially, this means that Skye is now able to shoot more consistently in a consolidated area. The minimum damage at maximum falloff has also been increased from 15% to 30%, as well as reduction of range at which maximum falloff occurs from 120 feet to 100 feet. Fall-off curves are a way to allow people to be more effective at closer ranges, meaning that if you were able to shoot somebody for like 1 or 2 points of damage from very, very far away, reducing the minimum fall-off means that you'll now be able to maybe shoot them for 8 or 10 points of damage. Essentially, it won't go lower than that 8 or 10 points of damage, or in Skye's case, it won't go lower than 30%. Also, your maximum fall-off will occur a little bit earlier, meaning at 100 feet, you'll see that maximum fall-off range kick in versus 120 feet where it used to be. Last but definitely not least, the damage of wrist crossbows bolts have been reduced from 150 to 140. In the designer's notes, it says that currently Skye has the highest damage potential in the game, with a weapon that gets much weaker over distance. Now she'll see a little less damage up close, but her weapon will be much more versatile and consistent. Now, Skye's notorious issue is that she has to run up onto a target, get exposed, burst all of her damage, use all of her cooldowns to get the kill, and once she's done that, she's useless in the team fight. That's why Skye's legendary preparation is considered as valuable as it is to her playstyle, because she can now get a kill and actually reset all of her cooldowns and get out of the fight. Whereas Androxus can dash, Eevee can ice block, Lex can slide, Skye just has to run in stealth, but if she's so close to a target or close to a team fight where they can all see her with the stealth reveal, it doesn't really help her to escape. Not only that, with 1800 health to her name, it's very difficult for her to be up in people's faces and survive. At best, you're trading 1 for 1, and that's not what anyone wants to bet on when looking to pick a team comp that will win a game. And thus, allowing her to throw her bomb instead of having to run into the masses to deploy it was a very good quality of life change for her playstyle. And now with the weapon versatility adjustments we're seeing in OB55, allowing Skye to be more effective at medium to longer ranges, this could be an interesting start on a path that might just work out for her. As I like to do in State of the Realm, we not only look at the past, the present, but also the future. Where can this champion go and what's in store for those who love to play them? From a larger perspective, I think it's difficult to have stealth champions be at the top of your meta. Loki is one of the most hated gods and characters I've ever seen in any game whatsoever, and it's because it's inherently frustrating to get killed by someone you don't see coming, and especially when they do so much damage that you have no time to react. But I also think it's unfair for a champion to not get their rightful due just because they have stealth. And to be clear, that's not what I think is happening here. I just think it's a very precarious path, kind of a trepidatious step that you have to take when looking at buffing or nerfing stealth characters. It just inherently adds more difficulty to the issue. Vertical mobility doesn't seem to be the answer for me, because I also don't like the homogenization, I've used this word before, but just the sameness of everyone having the same skills and the same assets in order to be able to compete. And with the reduction of mobility in the game lately, this could help Skye to flourish when there's not as much competition traversing the map as quickly as before. Though what's most curious to me is the direction that she seems to be moving with the increased range and versatility of her weapon. Though stealth used to be her way to get close enough to burst a target down, maybe stealth could be more of a mid-range option to confuse opponents. Obviously, we saw the buff to the smokescreen increase from 15 to 25 feet in many patches ago, but it also helped for the distraction and kind of the elusiveness that Skye brought to the battlefield. I also think that we have this stale idea of what flanking has to be. It's not just blinking or dashing into the backline. Skye has a different way of operating on the battlefield now, and with her smokescreen, with her stealth, it could be more towards deception. It could be more towards patience and poking, distraction. Maybe as a community, we need to look and rethink our ideas of what a flanker should do, especially at a higher level of play. And while my ideology is great and I'm inspired by what QG has done and how they've changed our perspectives on what should be a lineup or what can be good at high levels, I do think that there is one initial big problem that Skye has that's going to leave her as probably not the top pick until this gets adjusted. And unfortunately, I think that is her health. 1800 health in this game is abysmally low. And Skye, operating from the flank position, of course, has the lowest health in the game. but she doesn't have any invulnerability like Eevee, who also has 1800. And yes, although she doesn't need vertical mobility, without those tools and with just relying on deception and no way to kind of immune herself such as Xin has with a counter or Androxus has with a reversal, it leaves her in a very, very difficult spot of dying much more often than most other flankers. The second Skye is able to contribute to a fight without having to be stealthed in the backline, as the second Skye becomes valuable to this game. When exposing yourself for just a second in a team fight doesn't mean that you can get two-shot by anyone in the damage class, and I think she is going to have a place, or at least be viable enough to experiment with. But of course, these are just my thoughts. And as always, I want to know yours. Let me know in the comment section below. Follow me on Twitter at Raynday Gaming. Hit me up on Snapchat at Raynday and let me know your thoughts about Skye. Where do you think she should be in this meta? Do you believe these changes will help her versatility and effectiveness in the battle? And what is she missing? Is it the health that I bring up? Is it something deeper? Do you really think vertical mobility is the crux of her issue? I want to hear your thoughts below. We're getting really close to 150,000 subscribers, guys. I just want to give a big shout out to everybody who's supported lately. And we've got some more sponsors who still want to work with us and some videos upcoming this week that I'm excited to share with you as well. Things are on the up and up, people. Make sure to stop by my stream, twitch.tv/Raynday, if you see me go live, and leave a follow if you can. And as always, remember to never give up, never stop gaming, and I'll see you all next time.